Folks around here envy my success. They've seen me grow from a little pushcart into this big-time corner restaurant. They say, "Marge, you've got the only ostrich burger joint in town. You can charge whatever you want and make a killing." I wish it were that easy having a monopoly. I've learned some hard lessons about raising prices.
That's too much for a burger.
That's too expensive for me.
These burgers are way too expensive. I can't pay these prices.
Customers avoided me like the plague when I raised them too high. So I tried the opposite strategy. You know, dropping my prices to sell more burgers. I won back my customers and made my best profits ever.
I'm hungry. I could eat a lot of burgers.
It's been a long time since I had
I really
an old
like
burger.
these ostrich burgers. I haven't had one in a long time.
I thought, life is good. Why not drop prices even further? So I did, and I sold more burgers than ever, but my profits actually went down. It's been a guessing game ever since. Higher prices, fewer sales. Lower prices, more sales. Where do I set my prices to get the highest profit?
A monopoly is defined as a market in which there is one and only one firm supplying a good or service. Marge has a local monopoly. She owns the only restaurant in Pleasantville that sells ostrich burgers. Another example of a local monopoly is a small-town gas station. Other types of monopolies are defined by their markets. There are regional monopolies like electric power companies. In most markets, consumers cannot choose their power company. They must buy electricity from one source. There are national monopolies, like Polaroid, which has a monopoly on the production of instant photographic film. And there are international monopolies like De Beers, which controls virtually all of the world's diamond market. How does a firm become a monopoly? There are a number of ways, but all depend on barriers to entry, which prevent firms from entering an industry. Ostrich Burger is a monopoly because Pleasantville is not big enough to support 2 Ostrich Burger restaurants. The size of the market is a barrier to entry. The power company has a government-granted monopoly that prevents other companies from entering the market. Local and state governments grant licenses to power producers and give them monopolies. However, these governments also regulate these companies. In this case, the law is a barrier to entry. Polaroid's monopoly derives from the fact that they hold a patent granted by the federal government on the instant film process. Both the power company and Polaroid are legal monopolies. The De Beers diamond monopoly is quite different. There are no legal barriers preventing anyone from going into the diamond production business. But De Beers owns or controls almost all of the known diamond mines in the world, which gives them monopoly power over their production. The nature of limited resources is a barrier to entry. In the United States, monopolies at the national level are quite rare. In most industries, monopolies are illegal, and the government is active in breaking up monopolies or preventing their formation. As in the case of AT&T, which used to have a monopoly on long-distance service in the United States. Now, AT&T has numerous competitors, such as MCI and Sprint. Whether local, regional, national, or international, all monopolies depend on barriers to entry. Marge is a monopolist. Ostrich burger lovers in Pleasantville have nowhere else to go but to Marge's restaurant. In such a small town, the size of the market is a barrier to entry for other ostrich burger sellers. Though Marge is a monopolist, she is still subject to market demand. The quantity of ostrich burgers Marge sells at a particular price is determined by demand. Marge doesn't know where to set prices to maximize profits.
Last week I set my price at $4 a burger. At that price, I sold 100 burgers a day, bringing in a total revenue of $400. This week I lowered my price to $3 a burger. At the lower price, I've been able to sell 200 burgers a day. And my total revenue each day has been $600. When you think about it, I took in $300 for the second 100 burgers. But I gave up $100 on the sale of the first 100 burgers. So by increasing my sales from 100 to 200 burgers, I had a net gain of $200.
Marge is alluding to the concept of marginal revenue, which is the addition to total revenue from selling one more unit of output. When Marge sells burgers at $3 apiece, she can sell 200 burgers and receive a revenue of $600. To sell more burgers, she needs to lower her price. What if Marge wanted to sell just one more burger per day? She would have to lower her price to $2.99. Selling all 201 burgers at that price would bring in a total revenue of $600.99. Her marginal revenue for one more burger is 99 cents. Why doesn't Marge just keep making more burgers to increase revenue? Let's take another look at the demand curve.
If I want to sell 300 burgers a day, I need to lower my price to $2 per burger. At that rate, I'd take in $600 a day. The same as if I were selling just 200 burgers at the higher price. And I haven't even considered my costs yet.
Marge has discovered that her marginal revenue decreases as she increases her production and lowers prices to sell more burgers. Because Marge is the sole producer for a market with a downward-sloping demand curve, both price and marginal revenue decrease as quantity demanded increases. For the monopolist, marginal revenue is always less than price. In this case, the curve for total revenue rises to a maximum where quantity equals 250 burgers, then falls, reflecting a negative marginal revenue at higher levels of production. The profit-maximizing monopolist will operate only in the portion of demand for which marginal revenue is positive. Increasing revenue is important, but to maximize profit, Marge must consider her costs. Profit is revenue minus costs. Total costs rise with increases in production. As you know, the measure of this incremental change is the marginal cost, which at first decreases, then rises sharply at higher levels of production. Marge earns a profit when the total revenue curve lies above the total cost curve. Maximum profit occurs when total revenue is as far above total cost as possible. This is also the point where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. This is the golden rule of profit maximization.
Ah, that's where I should set my price to make the most profits.
Marge has found her short-run profit-maximizing conditions. But since Marge is a monopolist and other firms face barriers to entry, there is no reason to expect change in the long run. In the case of a monopolist, the short-run condition and the long-run condition are identical.